So everyone who's on mine, we're just chatting about cybersecurity and stuff and politics. It's me, CJ, and James, Comrade James. So, uh,
Brad James. Liz, the developer at Future Infinitive, and CJ Trowbridge. They are experts in tech, AI, cybersecurity, OPSEC. So listen to everything that they have to say.
hey everyone. Great, excellent. Sounds like everyone can hear us, at least on my end. So we get to have an interesting conversation. Um, we were just reading about that article that was super viral that CJ sent. Uh, but you're still working on the sound, so I'll
I
I'll
think I
wait.
might
Um,
actually share the article on my screen.
Okay, it's working.
Yay, sounds working. Hooray. Excellent. All right, catch us on one of the streams that are live right now. Everyone's live on like a trillion things, so hopefully y'all have found us. Um, so yeah, that article about the voting systems was super interesting.
For anyone that doesn't know, there's like a recount effort in Rockland County, New York, where they found a bunch of statistical discrepancies between, um, like the votes that were, I guess, like that were counted, air quote, from this new, like type of software that we've been using or whatever, there was something with Trump and his family that were using it. And so there's all these anomalies. And there's been a concerted effort in Rockland County to see where those discrepancies are coming from, to see if there was some kind of finagling in the election. And at this point, it seems like maybe there was.
So there was also this viral article though on Substack that is currently the top shared thing on Blue Sky. And basically it's this guy who says that he's an ex-CIA operative who's a whistleblower who was part of an NSA audit of the election and that Kamala won. And he gives a lot of different details and claims, but there's absolutely no independent evidence for a single thing that he says. And there's not a single trace of this guy anywhere except his Substack and a self-published book where he claims that he is an ex-CIA agent. Like everything that he claims, there's no FOIA, there's no independent documents, there's no like there are a lot of claims, but absolutely all of it is just from him. Like none of it
Yeah.
can be independently verified. So maybe it's true, but like it this is not how truth like
Yeah.
should look, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm also very suspicious of the structure of the article because it's like, okay, so first, uh, I'm gonna come up with a whole bunch of credible history and have a long thing of history. So let us first agree on what we agree upon. Okay, now that you have established that we are all on the same agreement team, now I will lay forth some other things that I won't substantiate, but I substantiated so many things that it's just like a little part of the article that's not substantiated, but it's like the main part with new information, right? Like everything else, very substantiated. We believe the first part, but it's like the article is set up kind of to make you believe, like to make you incredulous by the time you get to the real meat. And that's like a big red flag for me. That and
And
like I ex-CIA, I wrote a book. It's like icons of authority, icons of authority. You see, I have icons of authority here. And it's like,
right.
ah, man.
The other thing too is like I totally agree that there are statistical anomalies. Like for example, there are districts where there were zero votes for Kamala Harris, but there were a ton of votes for the Democratic senator. Like the Democratic senator won, but the presidential race there were zero votes for the Democrat, which is
That is
obviously.
weird. Yeah, that's obviously BS, right? But
But on the other hand, there are over 10,000 districts, each of which has their own local process, their own local, you know, they're not a part of any larger organization. It's just 10,000 tiny local groups, most of which are not really using a lot of technology. And
yeah,
the idea of a conspiracy existing on that level is just insane and impossible.
yeah,
The claim
logistically.
is the claim is that it's the technology they're using, Um, but again, there's 5 companies that would have to be involved, and like the idea of like 5 executive teams, five like all of their supporting staff, like at that point it's like thousands of people, and the idea of anything like that happening with
And
thousands of
staying
people being
secret.
right, with thousands of people being directly involved, it's just insane. It's impossible, right?
Right, right.
Is it suspicious? Yeah, I mean, but I
Yeah,
think one of the fundamental things that's the hardest part about the last few years for most people is the fact that the silo that we live in is not the whole world. And recognizing the fact that like no, like most people are just awful, right? Like a lot of people in the world are awful people. And
yeah,
like we live in a country where only 13% of adults can read 2 opinions and tell you what the difference is between them,
yeah, yeah. And
right?
literacy rates are falling. The average American has, I think, a seventh grade reading level. It used to be eighth grade, now it's seventh.
I think it's sixth now.
Is it
It's
six
six.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gee.
the last that I saw something, but I guess because you guys are like the technological uh depth and breadth of something like this is so vast that some clandestine conspiracy, the idea of keeping thousands of people quiet and in the know and all this stuff, that seems wildly implausible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And yet there are these statistical anomalies. They feel like they're very much like oriented towards a party, you know? Um,
yeah,
so like where do your tech brains or where does your logical or your critical thinking brain go to explain this? Because I think that a layman sees this and go, sounds like fucking voter fraud shit to me. It sounds like trying to
yeah,
manipulate an election from a like notoriously shitty and manipulative and guy that refuses to lose.
yeah.
So what do you think?
So from a technical I do change management as my like main pays for my like existence usually. And so just getting a whole lot of people to do a different thing than they were doing, even if it is obviously better and everyone is aligned and they're happy to do it, is really hard. And so um, the thing about like software updates and things like that is that even if there is a regulation about having to apply security updates within a time frame, it realistically does not happen.
Yeah.
And so, this is the real world that we actually operate in, right? And so, in order to, like, days before the election, roll out a software update, unless it's a forced software update, like, even that seems like it would have very limited effect.
And
Um,
problems. There would be obvious
there would
problems.
be obvious problems. Like, there would be a lot of people talking about it also regularly. Like, there was a software update, um, and the other thing is, the more people who touch a thing, the more probability that somebody aligned with the anti-conspiracy will see the actions and talk about them, right?
Yes, no, that totally makes
And
sense.
that's the main thing is that like even any voting system technology, because they have a government contract in a literal sense, they are legally bound by the EEOC, or they were for a long time. So like they're forced to hire a diverse set of people, and if they don't show that they are doing that in terms of their numbers, they would lose their federal contracts, right? And as a voting machine thing, like it's pretty much just the federal government, so you have to follow the EEOC up until literally this year. And it wasn't suspended before the election, right? So like the amount of insularity for that update to happen is maybe present in some elements of some organizations right now because of the taking down of the EEOC, but it wasn't then. And so there would have been somebody that blew the whistle on this that would have
And
some photos and some evidence, frankly. Especially an
yeah,
ex-CIA operative would know to get evidence.
Yeah.
If you're
but also
in the
like,
CIA, you would know to get evidence, right? You wouldn't just be like, oh, and then I'll just tell people. They'll believe me, I'm in the CIA, or at least I was. That screams trustworthiness. CIA,
right.
NSA operative. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, a lot of things when you look at them, I think don't really add up. Though that I like want to believe in my heart for sure. Like, oh yeah, that sounds very plausible that everything isn't actually terrible and that really good things should have happened. And that's actually
Well,
bad guys that have made it
yeah. No, I
different,
mean, I think
you
that
know?
there's something that you were saying here that I think there's a tendency on the left, and I want to like make this really, really clear, is that a lot of times it looks like there's collusion. It looks like there's like a clandestine operation when things happen across an industry or across multiple industries.
Yeah.
And this is the difference between collusion and imperative. This is the core element of capitalism
Hmm.
is that if I put five capitalists in a silo, this is like what Marx was talking about from the beginning. If I put five capitalists in a silo, they're in the same industry. They're going to end up doing the same shitty things because they have a systemic imperative to
Yes.
do those things. And
Yes.
so a lot of times you can make up this note, and sometimes they collude. The fucking airlines, they collude. There's evidence of collusion. But the
Yeah.
thing is, the collusion doesn't need to happen, and it
Hmm.
will. The consequences of a collusive action are going to happen without collusion.
Hmm.
And so I think it's easy to see that stuff and then make that as evidence of like, well, if it's happening here and they control everything, so it can happen here.
Yeah.
Um, you
I
know,
think we can all agree that if they could do this, they would do this, but I don't think there's any reason to think that they could. And
Yeah.
especially like the two things that really jumped out at me as soon as I look at like the first above the fold on the article is like Jormungandr, okay, he's selling a book and it's titled Jormungandr, right? Like the child of Loki, like this is like old
Right.
Norse symbology of like the world serpent. And then the central claim is that there's this multi-layered transnational organized crime syndicate that's behind all of this. And they're doing it with like five corporations, the executive teams, the support staff. Like it's just crazy. This it keeps getting bigger and there's more and more
be a
layers.
great movie. This would be a great movie.
Oh yeah, super great movie. I would
But
watch that
like
movie. Oh yeah.
but like the possibility that it's true is like zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of me makes me like and so like immediately I'm like this conspiracy is crazy, but like it's a conspiracy to cause the conspiracy. Maybe there's like the opposite of this is actually true, and like there's this inside out onion that we actually need to be worried about. And I just don't think that's a good way of discovering the truth or
No,
Yeah.
thinking about
100%. I
truth.
mean, there was just like a handful of one of the meme accounts that I'm sure like we all follow or something on Instagram, and it had all these things like because of the Epstein file debacle that's happening right now. Um they're like they're putting out every psyop that they can right now, and they're
We need
because
to
they're like
recapture those people that we've
yeah, it
lost
was like
over.
JD Vance. He's like, I'm gonna look into the UFOs from last year. Like, what happened to
Yeah,
those guys? Yeah. And so like
Every
all these things are coming out. They're like, we're gonna release the MLK files, we're gonna release everything.
yeah.
hmm
Just like don't look at Epstein. Um,
hmm
and
I saw a meme a couple weeks ago that was like, if we keep talking about Epstein for a couple weeks, he's gonna release the aliens like
He's gonna
100%.
we just gotta keep doing it. We just gotta keep on it. We're gonna get those aliens. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um
but okay,
I
so that's but one thing we didn't really arrive at is do you have an idea about the objective fact that there's weird statistical anomalies? Have you read anything that gives any insight into that, or is it just like, fuck, I don't know?
Um, so the thing is, when you try to say some stuff about something that happened that is across 350 million people, like, it's really hard to say. Could there have been some counties whose electoral process was compromised? Is that possible? For sure. Do we think it would have made a complete statistical flip of the United States? I don't know that on that scale that we
Yeah.
have the capability as a species to do that,
Yeah.
except through messaging, right?
If
Like,
she had performed a lot better, I think it would be much easier to make that argument. But the reality is that across, like if you look at San Francisco, the number of Democrats that didn't show up it's
Yeah.
like exactly the same as the nationwide numbers. So it's like
Yeah.
the previous two elections, and then it's a huge drop, and it's like the same percentage as the nationwide numbers. So I mean, I think this was just a terrible candidate, and I think a lot of people are having a hard time coping with the fact that like this was a terrible candidate, and so many people were so disillusioned with how bad of a candidate it was that they just decided to stay home. And like people feel guilty, people feel like they're to blame and they want to put it on something else. And
Yeah.
we don't have this Epstein thing anymore, so we need a new conspiracy, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I was before, because the Rockland County stuff that's been going on for like
Totally,
2, 3 months. Uh,
totally.
and the thing for me was like, I was like, I don't give a shit. Whatever truth emerges from the Rockland County thing doesn't change the fact of what you just said, which was that I
Yeah.
know a shit ton of people didn't go vote. I
Yeah.
know that the Democrats haven't ran a primary in like a long time. I know
Very
that no
little.
one that back in fucking 2020 when they had to rally around Biden and steal all the support from Bernie, that at
Yeah.
that moment Kamala had no fucking votes. She had no votes from anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
She was
a
in 12th
historically
place.
unpopular candidate.
She
Yeah.
was the last in the race, 12th
Yeah.
place.
It's kind of like what happened with Lurie. Like she was the least popular candidate, but she was also the least like reviled candidate. And so pretty much like every other candidate was polarizing, right? Or at
Yeah.
least that was what the polling showed, was like if it was this person or this person, and then when it would split the vote. And then, so they just found the one that cut the vote the smallest, but that statistically will cause you to arrive at like the weakest candidate because they're just like the most lukewarm milk toast candidate available, which
Yeah.
I would have thought would be Pete Buttigieg, but it's like, what was
Remember
going
the
on?
rat
Why
hole
did
memes
nobody
about
like
Pete?
him? What happened? He was
Yeah.
fine. He would have funded PBS. He
The Pete Buttigieg
would have
like
had PBS
revival
too.
right now is scary because I remember when the left was rallying around him as Rat Boy. Remember
Well,
that?
this week he's coming out about like we should ban trans people from
Oh,
sports.
I saw. Luckily,
Sorry.
liberals will always shoot themselves in the foot, you know?
They
So,
just, we could take a class, on aiming. We could do that.
you know what I would love actually is to make all sports
There's a
equal.
safety and you just click it and then it's fine.
Oh
You
my
don't shoot
God.
yourself in the, like it's, I don't know, like we
Let's
could,
try not to get banned.
sorry. I said, we're just talking about safety.
Just safety, guys.
Just talking about
Goodness.
safety is important.
There is
Um,
a related story too that I think also ties in with kind of the same theme that we're talking about, which is the it's like wild to me. I made a video 2 days ago, and I
about
was
the
like,
lies.
the unemployment and the inflation
Yes. Yeah, that was
is
a great video. And
is
you did the
great.
day before.
The next day, yeah, they like came out and said it, and they revised it all down 90%, and then what is that noise?
Trowbridge Nostradamus over here.
Oh
Yeah.
wait. And then he fires the lady in charge of it. But then
The
also
Department of Labor statistics or
statistics.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fired the statistics lady like it was her fault the jobs numbers were
First
bad.
of all, she made up those numbers.
You made up
Okay.
those numbers and they were dumb.
Yeah.
So you're fired. Make up
Yeah.
better numbers next time.
No, literally, there was an interview like yesterday as he's like on the lawn, and they're like, "So should we just not trust the numbers?" He's like, "Yeah, we just shouldn't trust." Like they're like going forward, should we not trust numbers? He's like, "Yeah, we probably shouldn't trust numbers anymore."
Honestly, layoffs.fyi is more indicative to me because I'm in the tech world, and so I'm mostly focused on like the tech layoffs because that's who comes to my job search stand up and stuff like that. But like, y'all, they're bad and they've been bad for a super long time. Layoffs.fyi. And then also trueup.io/layoffs. Those are my like two sources, and they really are good barometers. There's good data because it's the people who are getting laid off that are like reporting who got laid off, and then the companies have to file if they're public. But it also like he talks about all the startups that lay people off, and like sure, 48 people getting laid off is not like a huge number, but when 700 companies lay off 48 people, it's like, oh no, that's actually a lot. And it
Yeah.
also, when like a lot of startups lay off a lot of people, that's a big like economic trend indicator because it's within one silo. But it's like you
I
can kind of
actually,
see elements
actually,
of the supply chain there. So I don't know. It's
I actually think this is a good thing. Um, because like for me, like if we have these executive branch departments deciding numbers like this, like I've actually been making this argument for like more than a year about like Biden's numbers because
Mhm.
it was exactly the same thing. They would revise the previous month way worse every month, and then they would be like, look how great this month is, revise it again. So this has been going on for years, right? And I've been saying like you should not trust the executive branch to tell you the macro indicators. Like
Right.
they're gonna lie, right? They're doing everything they can to manipulate those numbers with like selling off all the strategic reserves to bring prices down before elections or just misrepresenting it and then revising it. But like
Yeah.
the Federal Reserve actually doesn't use any of these numbers in the decision-making process, which is one of the things that a lot of people have brought up, specifically because like these numbers are just made up by the executive branch.
Right.
So they have like the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the Fed, they all have their own system for determining these numbers independently. And then you can
Yeah.
compare and see, and they're all the same. And then the executive branch is like totally different, right? So, like, I think we have to get used to, and Axiom would hate this, but like, it's this postmodern perspective. Like, if we don't trust institutions to give us the truth, and like,
Mhm.
we sort of let go of the idea that there is a correct number, right? Like, that they're all using different methodology. Like the executive includes imports in
Right.
GDP, which is like insane. That's not domestic product. Like we're importing, right? So like there are all these examples where it's like, are they including energy costs? The Fed doesn't include energy costs, the executive does, right? And it's like, why is that different? What are the motivations behind those differences? And like, there's not a true fact there. Like, it's just different perspectives on this abstract thing and some people have really really strong incentives to lie to you about it. So I think it's positive that we have like this increasing in like statistical literacy with people becoming aware that like these numbers are
Well,
BS.
yeah, I think that there's a weird interplay here, because I think that most people's common sense perception of their economic situation is more indicative of um, the actual state of the economy because the
Yeah,
economy isn't the stock market, they have a better sense of like what their purchasing power is, what their wages are, how much things cost around them and inflation and what they can afford or can. Um, and so a very like localized sort of autonomous, spontaneous understanding is important. Um, there is the obvious sort of like correlative of that, which is you can't always trust like just what's in front of your eyes. That's it. So yeah, it's a weird thing. Like I want people to be like, no, your experience of the economy is the right one. You were
yeah,
fucked over. I
Yeah.
don't care how much, whoever says things are
The
great.
number
Wall
is
Street
behind.
Journal
Yeah.
says the economy's booming.
Yeah. Like
yeah.
we can report on how specific stocks are doing, and that is objectively true because someone will pay that much for it. So that's true. It's a fact about reality. But yeah, if it's like you can't afford food or you can't afford a whole bunch of the foods that used to be a staple of your diet anymore, like that's the indicator that matters.
There's
Like
also
that's the concrete thing that you should
I
be measured by.
I think I would disagree with the first thing you said. When we talk about like price indicators, the problem today is that there's this liquidity crisis, which is why there's no volume, right? So like the price of a lot of stuff is high because nobody wants to buy it and nobody's willing to sell it at a lower price. So it's not that
Uh,
it's worth that. It's that
mhm.
people haven't started dumping it yet. And as soon as big players start dumping this stuff, it's gonna crash, right?
Right.
And so like a lot of these, if you look at like volume versus
Yeah, true.
um, I don't want to be like too technical, but
No,
there's
no,
just
please. Like
price
this,
pressure
I'm very
theory.
into it. I'm very into like economic. I have been known to spend weekends just listening to like super dense economic theory books for hours. So
Yeah,
like, yeah, yeah. Please
there's
get
a
technical.
there's a lot of indications that the goal particularly in terms of like what's going on with crypto, is that because there isn't liquidity, because nobody's willing to buy any of this garbage, the cryptocurrencies that large players have bought to inflate prices, that what they're trying to do is set up federal backing for stable coins so that they can exit
Yeah,
quickly.
follow
And
you.
if
Yeah.
that happens, all of that money that doesn't exist comes out of future generations' wealth.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of like, it seems obvious to me and others that like that is the play, is that with a lot of these inflated asset classes, the goal is to like blow the bubble up as big as possible and then make future generations responsible for paying it and then take all the money out.
Yes. Yeah.
How would just functionally, logistically, how does it work? So like they do this federally backed stable coin
Yeah,
to effectively like move their assets or something into this, get out. How does that put it onto a future generation?
So
because it
like,
would be on the national debt. They would put the value, so like the dollars that they have to create to sell you dollars in exchange for your stable coins would come on the balance sheet of the central bank.
Because the stable coin is on effectively on the market, the crypto market, I can now use the shitty nothing coins that I have to buy stable coins.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's great,
Derivative
guys.
prices. Well, it's like,
Oh
let's
my God,
say,
crackhead Barney is in. What up? Sorry, crackhead Barney's in.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah, did you see Chris Smalls? Like he arrived, and I think she was like the first one in. He's like right off the thing. She's like da 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 da, like talking to him. I was like, man, this guy just went through it.
Wow.
no, no, I hadn't seen that. That sounds great. I mean, like, if you think about it, like, okay, if you say, okay, my stock's worth $10,000 a share, but then no one will buy it for $10,000, it's not really worth $10,000, right? If is like a huge pool of something, but only like 20 people are really buying and selling that thing, it's very hard to, within those 20 people's purchases, actually sell your stake of that stuff, whatever
Yeah.
it is, right? And
Yeah.
so, like, if you can't sell it to those 20 people, and if those 20 people are only buying and selling from their friends in order to make it look like there's people buying and selling, then there's not really a market. There's just 20 people saying, no, yeah, we're all definitely, this is great. And sometimes people will put a lot of money in, so then the dollar value of the volume appears high. And that's why
Right.
those pumped up fund things, that's how they work. And then this is that on a larger level. Like there may only be 30,000 people buying the stable coin, and most of those people may be sort of, like having the same problems JFK has, right? A little bit of brainworms. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then, what
RFK.
they want, yeah, RFK, sorry, not JFK.
I'm like, wait, what?
Thank you.
JFK had a different kind of
Um,
brain.
but like, if they can convince a lot more people to buy and sell these coins, then they can sell all of their coins and they don't have to be the buyer
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And if they already have a vast sum of value that they've inflated by trading with each other, then everyone starts buying them, and it does create a market for a little bit because everyone's like, oh, we're all buying and selling this. This must have value. But then because there's no real intrinsic like thing about it that really causes it to be really worth, it's like obvious that we should use
Goes to
this
zero.
instead of that. Like
Yeah.
eventually the bubble bursts, it dies down, and
So
that's what creates those bubbles, right?
Andreessen did that at least 50 times as a board member at Coinbase through
Oh yeah.
Coinbase. So he
Yeah.
would set up a cryptocurrency for a particular startup or whatever and make all these promises that were not like true. And then he would say, like, I put $10 million in, I believe in this, this is the future. Everybody would buy it. He would sell his coins to them for more than that $10 million, and he's like 50xing his money, and then they all are left holding the bag. He did that at least 50 times that we know of as
Brilliant.
as a board member at Coinbase.
You can
And
see
then
it.
it's exactly the same thing that's happening with SpaceX stock and with OpenAI and with all of these AI labs that are trying to go public before the bubble pops, is that they're doing self-dealing. So like the last 100% of the times that OpenAI that SpaceX has tried to launch their Starship. It has just exploded. This time, the most recent time, they weren't even trying to launch it. It's just sitting there and it exploded. So 0% success record, right? And they're self-dealing. They're doing these internal rounds where they sell shares back and forth between each other for more than they paid for them last time to inflate the price. And then they IPO, the public markets buy all of those shares, and they're like, okay, well, we're done, right? Like it's a public company now. Good luck, right? All the smart people left a long time ago. Like the guy who built SpaceX, um, Tom Mueller, left to start a competitor, right? That's why they don't work anymore. Like when he left, it stopped working. Same
Yeah.
thing at OpenAI. All the smart people left. They've leveled off. Like they're not doing any new advancements there.
Created the value. Yeah. They're just adding like the
And they're
web
doing those
features. Like,
internal rounds.
It's
Yeah.
interesting, like the speculation you're talking about, like in a microcosm, in the world of, let's say, like AI or SpaceX or crypto or whatever. Because I was watching another video. I mean, I try to have this app, I try to get investment, and you learn about like how the investment process works. If anyone watched like Silicon Valley, you get like a little touch of it,
mhm,
which like there's no real relationship between evaluation and the value that a company is putting out. It's
right.
basically before an IPO, you have a bunch of levels of private investment, and each one of those is just trying to sell off there that I did at this earlier one, sell it off to the next guy at a higher rate so that I can get my thing. And eventually, it's kind of like a weird pyramid scheme thing. And eventually, you always end at an IPO moment where now it just becomes the thing that the public deals with.
Right.
The increase in value on that thing is generally nowhere near as meteoric as the beginning part.
Right.
Um, and the video that I saw, they were talking about all of because you were talking about jobs. I wanted to bring this up like 20 minutes ago. That some of the economic indicators that like the president or the various people use is like job postings on things. Like look how
Right.
many jobs
Which
are
are
available. They're
lies.
all fake. They're all
Yeah.
fake jobs that these
Literally.
startups are using to create the perception of a growing company so that they can get the next round of investment
Yeah.
to increase the valuation of their company. It's like Fugazi, 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 Fugazi.
Yeah.
Yes.
The real numbers that we do have are things like first time unemployment claims, which is 250,000 a week since February.
Right. Which
You
is,
know,
yeah.
the number of people that are employed like has not gone up at all this year,
hmm
and the number of new unemployment claims is like 250,000 a week.
That was happening during COVID. That it's the same numbers as during COVID, as when we shut down the economy. When we did that, there's a dog though, so it's better. Like, please
Hi,
continue
pup.
with the dogs. It's really helping me out, at least
I'm
personally.
sorry, they keep
It's
like
heavy
tapping at the
things. We need
door.
dogs. No, we need dogs. It's very important. Please keep the dogs on. It's keeping me alive. And able to talk about this horrible stuff. No, it's
Oh,
affecting a lot of people and like I mean, I remember the 22 crash when we couldn't get like no one could get a job. I couldn't get a job. I taught 2 million people to code. I'm calling everybody. I couldn't get a job.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so like, if I can't get a job, like I'm like the most networks engineer that there is.
yeah.
And so I mean, this was back in 22. I think I had like 10K followers, but like I had a lot of students at that point.
Yeah.
I even
They're all like
applied at a
deeply entrenched in the industry. It's like
yeah.
if anyone can find a job, it should be you.
It should have been me, but like I couldn't get a job at a company I founded, which I mean, it's a story I tell for like, hey, you're not competing with junior developers. But like also it's just that's been the case before. We're seeing it now. I'm hearing it from people regularly every day. Like I have applied to 10,000 jobs. There's no work. What are we doing? What is
Yeah.
happening?
yeah.
But yeah, it's not illegal to make a fake job posting. You can post any amount of jobs.
I
So,
have a friend who's a high level management consultant who I asked about that, and he said that most job applications are actually just like pipelines, and they're just always accepting, and then when they need someone for that, they'll like look at the last week and pick a few of those. but they're not actually like even looking at 90% of the applications that people send in.
Yeah, it's like a lead gen funnel for freaking potential hires.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
exactly. I don't know. It's a pretty
And somebody
dire
just said, "Can you tell me
situation.
where the economy is going?" In the trash. It's
Yeah,
going in the trash, guys.
going bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
I've
we're
been
already
arguing.
in the trash and we're just eventually going to go to a dumpster.
I
My suggestion for people is start companies providing a service that you can immediately provide that then you can get paid for within 1 or 2 weeks. Long term, like don't build a SaaS app. Like that's not, you're not gonna get money from that unless you know how to put the thing on the website where it says buy now, like within a week and a half. And you can vibe code something up. Can you secure it in that time? No, for sure. But that would be my suggestion. I have founded my way out of several crashes, and I know it's
it's
hard.
it's not gonna it's not gonna be the same though. So
Yeah,
this is one thing. A lot of people have been saying now that we know that these numbers are wrong, what does it say about what should have been happening with interest rates? And it's not what people think because this is not a recession.
right.
A recession has low inflation. Okay,
Yeah,
this is something different than a recession.
yeah,
It's something so much worse than a recession
yeah,
because you can't fix it. It takes a decade. Like this is what happened in the 70s when you have high unemployment and high inflation and low growth, you have stagflation, and it takes a decade. You lose a decade. There's no growth, there's no jobs, there's no anything good for like a decade, right?
yeah. Everyone has to freeze
I would like
again.
to be a semi-optimist. I don't even know if it's optimist. There is an amazing example of a community coming together during an economic crisis in Catalonia. They're called the Mondragon Corporation.
Yeah.
It is a cooperative of cooperatives. It is
Yeah.
one of the oldest and most successful corporations in Spain.
Mhm.
They have uh, consistently uh, like maintained during recessions
Mhm.
because a cooperative works different than a corporation. A
Mhm.
cooperative exists to support the members of the cooperative.
Yes.
So if you look into your community and you have relationships, maybe you need to build relationships with
Winco.
producers, with other
I'm
people.
at Winco.
You can literally, and this is how this whole company it formed. There was a Catholic priest that got the entire city, this city, which I think it's named after the company, so or the company is named after the city, but um, and they got together and they said like how can we produce, what can we produce, and how can we support ourselves as a community. And I think that this is like this is the velvet revolution path,
Yeah.
is in a moment of economic and systemic crisis, how do we come together to produce for ourselves in new and better ways? And this is where I come in as an avid supporter of the cooperative model. It is effectively socialism in one company. Like that is
Yeah.
what a cooperative is. And
Yeah.
so if anyone is interested, there's also, and I don't know if you guys know about this guy, his name is Jason Weiner. Um, and I think his name is Jason Weiner. One sec, I'm
Tell
looking
us
this up.
about tell us
Um,
about this fellow. I was
yeah,
gonna say.
Jason Weiner is a lawyer out of, yes, think this is him. Yes, Jason Weiner. He is a lawyer out of Colorado, but they work globally, and their entire bit is about creating new legal pathways and new legal structures and investment structures to allow people to build cooperatives in ways that can entice investment, in ways that can. Oh, do you have something to say, or are you
No,
just kind
no,
of.
I'm just really excited. This is I'm very excited hands.
Okay, yeah. So go to jrwiener.com. When I was forming my previous thing, I was like talking to this guy. He's fucking sick. His team is great. And their entire thing is like a thing of like attorneys and social entrepreneurs that are building new economic models, new business models to allow for investment that sort of appeases traditional VC and investment like institutions, but can facilitate the growth of cooperative business structures. They focus on co-ops, but they also do ESOPs, which I'm not as big of a fan of. But look J.R. Wiener up.
Yeah.
Also, for people in the Bay Area, uh, the Mondragon Corporation, which was set up in this town of Mondragon by this priest whose name was uh Arismendi Arieti. Arismendi Arieti. The Arismendi bakery chain across the Bay Area is named after him, and it's set up in the same way. So there's this chain of bakeries that's also worker co-ops, which is like extremely popular. People love it. It's great. Also, a good place to go like hang out with like-minded people and meet people, and it's a good example of how like this kind of thing is already happening in our community.
Yeah, yeah. I've tried to found a number of co-ops, and it really requires some folks who are very all in and very motivated, I think, in order to found because it's so unattractive to investors that like the concept of a normal salary just doesn't get to happen for the first little bit because you're building the pipeline, you're getting clients, you're sort of sipping off of it a little bit, but usually what you're doing is using that money to then pay for a website or something like that. But it's hard to start co-ops, but but it can be done. It's just that you need to have a ready to churn into money business model. I know a lot of folks in the Bay Area that kind of don't understand how to business. They really only understand how to produce a stock that is attractive to VCs. And like, but they don't know how to like sell a product or service to a customer, right? And like, you can hijack capitalism for social progress, since we live under it. If you sell a product or service to customers and then your boss is the customers and not some rich person somewhere who you have to like fleece the customers to make happy, right?
Or the workers, the colleagues.
Or the workers or somebody, like where you put the exploitation is like, but that's only when you get capital involved, is that you've got to put exploitation in somewhere so that
Right.
you can grow the capital for some artificial metric.
This is
But
actually like my political alignment. It's not like a lot of people assume that I'm like a Marxist or like a Marxist-Leninist. I'm definitely more a syndicalist. I think like whatever philosophy you have, like the key is like organizing the people who are doing the work and the people who have shared interest in what's going on, and like together you can make whatever you want happen, right? Like that's like where like what I'm most interested in, most focused on. So I would say like I'm an anarcho-syndicalist
yeah,
for sure.
mostly because of where we are and where we can translate to from where we are, not from like, if I could just through a magic genie wish invent a new, it's like, cool, yeah, fully automated luxury space communism or whatever, with no bloodshed and no revolution and no pain and suffering. But like, I think we're
Yeah.
headed towards anarcho-syndicalism, and so it behooves us to find something within the structures that we find ourselves in that can be the most effective.
Yeah, this is
And
probably
that
where we disagree. Is like I believe that anarcho-syndicalist or syndicalism is like an element of social change. Um,
totally.
I think that there is an institutional arrangement that hasn't been built that would facilitate the kind of like leftist idealism as far as like what a new political economy looks like. And it takes the building of a lot of cooperative and worker governed structures. But that's where I am in ML is that you guys are always a syndicalist, a worker co-op is always going to be at a systemic disadvantage. They're not
Right.
going to want to exploit as much. They
Hmm.
are able to be run out. They don't have access to the levers of power in the same way. And there is this notion of controlling the levers of power that, the anarcho tendency seems to not touch upon as much. But at the end of the day, and this is the whole bit, is leftists are like, your label's fucking different. Well, guess what? We agree on like 98% of the same shit.
Yeah.
And we can
Yeah.
fight for the same shit just
Yeah.
because you're like, I'm not gonna, whatever. So you're
I
all my
mean,
comrades.
I'm pro a lot of socialist frameworks. Like I was just having a cry about PBS earlier, So I mean, I'm very pro a lot of things being socialized. I think there are some things that I don't know work as a socialization thing, but I like media. I think the, poetry of society need a lot of
Yeah,
freedom,
100%. I
but
think it's
also a lot of
basically if
support.
something is required for your survival, socialization.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
if something is absolutely
Power,
required, yeah.
water, education, food, medicine,
Yeah.
housing.
Bing bong. Yeah, housing.
right?
It would be interesting to talk sometime about like the more esoteric parts of like what we have different ideas about. But
Oh yeah,
I would love to. That's actually my favorite shit.
yeah.
yeah,
Speaking of which,
I
I'm
don't know
already
if people
15
will.
minutes over what I was supposed to be here for today,
Oh,
but it's because
okay.
we always have the best conversations.
We always have great conversations.
Yeah, I love you guys. So everybody, if you are still vibing, go to Liz or CJ's stream. You guys are on IG right now?
Yeah, IG. I'm on IG, TikTok, and
YouTube, Twitch.
YouTube, Twitch. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Sorry, I'm
Hopefully
just
that
on
won't get us
IG.
kicked off having said these words.
Okay, great. Well, I hope everyone's Saturday goes fucking incredible. Sending love and solidarity to everybody watching and to you too. Thank you so much.
Yep.
See you
See
next week.
ya. Thanks for coming. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, as somebody who's started a number of companies to do social impact, like, I found that I had a lot more freedom to really get stuff done, not going the nonprofit route and not going the co-op route and not going B Corp, even though those structures are allegedly better. It like I believe in the concept of co-ops, but I haven't ever gotten the right crew of people together to do a co-op. I see a lot of people in my comments talk about like, oh, well, if there were just like a job posting board or like a big list of people who maybe want to start a co-op, and that's great, but people say a lot of things they don't mean. People will spend a lot of time posting on a message board, but then never do anything, right? And I
Yeah,
found that the best way to get into a co-op is just to prove to a lot of people that you're super useful. And then someone will be like, hey, you seem so useful. Like, we have a co-op that's working. Will you join it? Or,
yeah.
but
I kind of see like the project, like what we've accomplished with the Cyber Pony Express as like the perfect example of like anarcho-syndicalism done right, right?
yes,
Like,
yes. Yeah, like it's gotten so big. There are a lot of people in all of the cities now. Like there were all these cities that had like 4 nodes, 3 nodes, and they were all like completely disconnected. And now the whole city is like traversable.
yeah,
Um, like it's bonkers. Also, SF's almost complete, or like the Bay Area is almost connected. I think we still need some on the peninsula, but and then like we need one between Davis and like that city that's right before Davis, before
Dixon.
Sacramento will be totally reachable. So,
Yeah.
like,
Also, it's strange to me, like the hills around Sacramento are filled in, but Sacramento is not connected to them. There's
yeah,
some missing piece there.
yeah, it's interesting. So, I mean, I'm like, there's a bunch of folks who applied on that sheet, but not so many in areas that are not covered. Or if they are in areas that are not covered, they're like completely disconnected, which is fine. Like down to get them
Yeah.
some, but
The
yeah.
other thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention earlier was that on the same day that Trump fired his BLS secretary, Erdogan also fired his for the same reason. Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting? They both
Yeah.
reported the same negative macro indicators.
So then they got
And
fired.
yeah,
Who
yeah,
did it first? Who announced it first?
Trump.
Oh, yeah. Well, he loves Erdogan and Erdogan loves him. They're like,
Yeah, yeah,
nightmare blunt rotation, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I sometimes I feel like I have to come up with all the answers to like this whole thing, but realistically, I'm just like, all right, let's talk tactics. I'm very focused on the ground, and like what can we do? Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I'm very down with Winco. I'm
yeah.
excited that they exist. They've gone nationwide, they've gotten big. They're the cheapest place to get food. You get stuff in bulk. It's good quality. It, you
I
know,
wish there was one in the Bay. Is there one now?
Isn't there? I thought that there was
How do you
recently.
know about Winco?
Uh, I lived in Well,
Uh,
I moved every 3 months for like 2 or 3 years there. So,
same.
but like, Winco, Google Maps.
I think the closest one is Vacaville.
Oh no, there's two. No, never mind. That's an auto repair shop.
Oh,
I
there's one in
might.
Antioch.
Now there's Foods Co.
So for people who don't know, Winco is a worker-owned grocery store where everything is like bulk and super cheap, and also it's like cash or debit only. They don't take credit cards,
Yeah.
and a lot like you can get like they have these huge 50-gallon drums of everything. So it's like pasta or cereal or grains or like anything you can imagine. They have a 50-gallon drum of it, and it's all bulk pricing, and you like it's by weight, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's great.
It's excellent. They
And
take
the
weight.
food is good. And
Yeah.
they also have like a really good deli section where they have like a sandwiches for like $1
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
have like singles of like all the cans or you can buy in bulk obviously.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Costco but like cheaper and like more food focused than like
And
merch.
stuff. Yeah. They don't really have a lot of stuff. But yeah, they pay people well. Everyone's insured. Like it's about having benefits for members. And they're like, I mean, yeah, it's a great place. But I usually encourage people go try to work for a co-op, especially if you're, in the like phase of your life where you don't have a lot of marketable skills yet, that kind of stuff. If you're like, how do I get started? No one will even listen to me. Like, go physically to a Winco and talk to the people there who work there, and like they will help you get in. Like, just be a human at them and not like an internet
Yeah.
application who is probably an AI.
One of my biggest criticisms with all of the orgy nonprofits in San Francisco is the fact that all of these orgy nonprofits become like money-making machines where like people at the top are like, exploiting a huge pool of volunteer labor that wants free tickets to orgies in exchange for like what happened to that duffel bag of cash, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like it can be sketchy, but like I think I did this like uh inference based on Pompeii. The number per capita of brothels in Pompeii extrapolated to the population of San Francisco implies that there are like 7,000 missing brothels in modern society in a city like San Francisco, and it has me asking like there's got to be a market. And 2 years
Oh yeah.
ago, San Francisco legalized adult sex venues. So if you want to like open up a shop and it's just like a like 24/7 orgy in there, like that's totally fine. You don't even need a permit for that anymore. And I kind of feel like that would be a super cool like co-op thing to do if you had like intentional people that were like
Yeah.
wanting to be a part of it and creating like a safe, cute space that like especially
Where
because there are a ton of them, particularly in the trans community. There are a
mm-hmm.
ton of these like work live co-op spaces that throw like T4T parties.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that's a whole like they're paying their bills, they're
Yeah.
paying the rent.
That's a real business because it's just party attendance and you don't have to participate if you don't want to. And it's not like it yeah, I would say brothels have probably changed in their nature. There's also a lot of online availability of it. A lot of times for people it's the attention from somebody. And so a lot of that stuff's online now, I would say.
Or
And
even like cuddle parties or like whatever.
yeah. Yeah, and it's been
I have a
like
friend who's a professional full-time cuddler.
yeah, yeah. I've heard of
Like
this. Is
what?
like a real thing in the Bay Area, especially.
Uh-huh.
It's way popular. That's what couch surfing got started here, and it was like originally going to be about cuddle parties, and then it was like, well, we can expand.
Oh,
Yeah, it was cool. That was such a weird scene in the in the 2010s and the
oh,
couch surfing in the late 2000s. Um, I think I remember. But yeah, there's um, the character of the people in that scene is also changed. Like I feel like the political alignment for a lot of those parties
totally.
has shifted right, even though, that's always been the party of like sex bad. And I don't
Has
really
shifted to the
understand.
right, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the party culture. I'm like seeing this.
Uh,
Not like conservative right, but like libertarian right,
uh.
you know.
Well, I mean, obviously there's an Overton window in the orgy universe.
True.
Uh,
Overton window in every universe.
I'm kind of like into like basically like the Mao camp of orgies, like,
Now, camp of orgies.
you know, like we had this one nonprofit that I've been a part of for like 8 years. We had like all these like cigarette millionaires that were donating money, and I'm just like, why are we letting these people, like, do we need that? Like, what are we doing with that? Like, where is it going? You know? And like,
Yeah,
why do people like that feel comfortable here? Like, how have we created a culture where like that kind of person feels comfortable being a part of it?
yeah. Can we make it more openly hostile for them? Like,
We did, and they all left, and like, they found other pastures that were more open to being bribed into like letting them in,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Um, but my experience has been that those groups that are more like politically right, it's more like the like contemptuous incel vibe, or like they identify as like orgiasts, but they're nobody wants to fuck them, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
and
they
they
go
have
there
this
and
like
complain.
grievance about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that like the people who are like actually like throwing good parties and like getting down is like, people who think Mao was a good guy. Like maybe he didn't go far enough in some ways.
Yeah.
Those are the
Yeah.
people that are having like the great success with not just not just like in terms of like
Oh no, the internet.
parties, right?
Right, right. Um, let's see. I mean, it does. I think it affects your vibe when you're just like contemptuous and when you're mostly focused on how it's not fair that people aren't interested in you and that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just not hot. I don't know. I mean, like nobody's interested in somebody who's like, it's not fair that you don't like me. You should be liking me because you see, and it's just like, okay, well, that's
Yeah, yeah.
really s- ugh.
People who have never
Ugh.
asked themselves whether they are the problem.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not your body, it's your vibe. It's never the body. I don't know. It's not straight up not,
Yeah.
Uh, kindness is super hot. At least to me. I don't know. I'm into it. It's
You know that like have you seen that talk where there was this history professor talking about like the historic problem of incels and how societies throughout history have disposed of them? There are all these like pipelines of disposing of like young men that no one wants to fuck. You send them to be a priest or a soldier or whatever, the
yeah.
Vikings, right?
Mhm.
Get them out of the culture, out of society, out of like send them somewhere else to like be a mess and be someone else's problem.
Yeah.
And like obviously that's not a good solution. And today like we don't have the ability to do that in the same way. And so society has this like glut of like young men that no one wants to fuck, and they refuse to ask themselves like, could I be the problem, right?
Yeah.
But I think one of the interesting differences today is that there's a huge group of people who've learned how to self-censor, right?
Mhm.
And like what not to say, right? Like how, like I'm a
Oh, yeah.
moderate, you know,
Yeah. How to
and
hide it. Yeah.
that behavior sort of gives me hope that like there is some potential for like these people to choose to reform themselves. And I've met a lot of, especially like young gay men who were in that camp in like Texas or something, and then they move here knowing that like the thing they grew up in is never going to welcome them, but they still
Yeah.
have a lot of those ideas, and it's like, well,
Takes a while to shed.
they start, yeah, yeah, exactly. And that, I think seeing so much of that gives me hope. And I kind of draw a line there where it's like people who are committed to those ideas versus people who grew up with them and like are trying to like get out of them. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, okay, you can come to the party, but we're watching you.
Yeah. I mean, it took time for me. When I first got here, I was from Texas, and like
Oh,
the trouble with Texas, it's like a factory farm for humans, you know? Like most of the cities are in the millions of people. And when you look at like the Bay Area, we're in these like 100,000 to like, or what is it? The Bay, like San Francisco's 700,000. It's under a million people. And like I
yeah, I
think the whole Bay Area is fairly large, but it's smaller
think it's like
than
5.
EFW, which is
Yeah.
11 or was a few years ago. And so like, there are 20,000 person high schools there. And like
Wow.
if you're in the top 1% of a 20,000 person high school, you don't know everyone else who is in the top 1% cohort because it's larger than Dunbar's number. Imagine what that does to you psychologically. Are you an individual? No. You are livestock who has been stack ranked, like for your life,
Wow.
you know? And so then you start to identify with your place in a stack rank as if one institution's ordering is going to be somehow the absolute ordering. But then culturally, it is. Like, if you had studied more, you'd be doing better. And thus, everything that's bad is actually your fault because you're defective, because you're livestock there. And it's like, I don't think that people are meant to live in populations that large or go to schools that large. I think it messes with your head. And I think that that's what's happening in many places. I don't know that that's all
Even
the
here.
incels, but I think it's a huge pipeline to being an incel,
Sure. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
developmental. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and I think that's like also what stops people from organizing. Who am I to do this? Who am I to do, like, who am I to join a thing? Well, they're not going to want me because they'll only want the best and I'm like mid grade, you know, and like that, like, and it's, I mean, I found school performance to be almost orthogonal to like life performance and do I want to be around you? And like, it's just completely unrelated, no
Yeah.
correlation.
Well,
Um,
one thing that I found really interesting is like when you're in those situations where you're like, for example, imagine that you were like in the forest with 100 people that you don't really know, and like a lot of them are like on that, and you have to like, I don't know, build an intentional community together or something,
yeah,
half a dozen times, and a lot of people are like really in all the pipelines, and you have to get like do something together and hopefully influence them to like
stop being like
persuade them
that.
away from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a measured approach that's uh like for example, this one time there was this guy who was talking like just randomly brought up Thomas Jefferson grew up penniless, and Alexander Hamilton was raised in the royal court, and I don't even like Hamilton, but I'm like, that's backwards, right? Like, have you read about either of them? Like, Jefferson grew up in the French royal court, and Hamilton was a homeless orphan.
Yeah, yeah. I,
And they're like,
watched the play and
he's,
then I read about the stuff and I was like, oh man.
this is someone who is definitely never watching the play, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, it's a super interesting story, And I'm not like professing my view, like I'm not making any claims. I'm just like, well, the story is backwards, right? Like,
Hmm.
and I think like oftentimes, especially because of the way that I look, they always agree, like assume that I'm on their side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, let me ask you all the interesting questions and see
Yeah.
how do you really feel? And you get to the core of it, and it's like, do you really think that that's true? And they're like, I don't know. And it's like, okay, good, good, good. Like,
Okay. So you don't know. All right. Well, that's important to admit.
yeah, yeah.
How would we find out? Is there a way that we could
Or
investigate this?
yeah, or I'll ask something like, what do you think people in the future will think about this group that we're a part of, right? Or like the things that you believe today? Or like, what do you think the future will be like? What do you think people in the future will believe? And they will always tell you exactly what you think, right? Like exactly like, oh, the future is all going to be like communist utopia and whatever, and nobody's going to have guns anymore. And it's like,
Okay. Can we
great.
start building that world today? Do you think maybe we could get started? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be here
I'm
faster.
glad we all agree, right?
Yeah. I I want people to build a new future. I try not to just be, oh, these are the bad things that are happening right now. You need to be aware of it. But it's like, I'm like, all right, let's have people not get trapped. And then also like, when I feel like I need to do more, let's build this, let's do this. Um, and that's why I'm like, hey, found a co-op. Like,
Yeah,
um, I will say like there's this like found a co-op with your friends, and I will say like don't do that for sure. Don't do that.
not with your friends.
It's really hard to like have your friends work with you because they don't they like you can be like, hey, I really need you to do this, but because they're your friend, it's just different. It's just a different thing. So, I've learned this lesson. Everybody, well, my friends are different. My friends are really smart. It's not about how smart they are. It's not about how capable they are. It's not about how much you love them or how
Yeah,
much you believe in them. It's that you're friends.
right.
And so it's hard for you to get your friends to do things that you want them to do. That's just because you have to create a hierarchy to compel people.
Yeah.
And like
I
hierarchy
also
works for some situations. I'm anti-hierarchy in friendships though, and I think that that's
yeah.
like it makes it really hard.
I also think that like people who don't immediately say yeah when you say that, it's like you're not going to convince them, right? Because they think they're different. They think their friends are special. And it's like try it. Good, like do it.
Oh, oh, go
You
ahead.
will
I'm just
you will
telling you.
not only
Come
learn
back
that
to
it
me.
doesn't work, but you will learn that like the people they are your friends are like maybe not even good friends and like you
They're
don't even
like,
know why yet.
yeah, yeah, you don't know yet. They're lazy. They're not gonna do the thing that you asked. They're not gonna treat this like their job. They're gonna treat it like, oh, my friend has volunteered to take care of me,
Right.
and
Like your
by
friends are
him.
actually your bar friends.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like these are not even friends.
yeah. No, those are just people who we drink with. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's interesting.
let's see. I didn't.
I feel like I'm in the same boat though where like I just finished multiple graduate degrees like in AI and business administration and like I've applied for hundreds of jobs and I haven't heard back from any of them, you know.
Yeah,
And it's like this is not about me, you know.
yeah. No, it's not. It's not. Like, I'm sure that if I got, I mean, like, you could make videos about it maybe and be like, I'm available. Send me an email. But like, um, you know, uh, that was the only thing that worked for me. During the 22 crash, or the crash that
Start
started
something.
22. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, yeah, everybody has to want to do the work, and uh I don't know. I feel like you have demonstrated that you're not only willing to do the work, but you're going to do maybe the most work. So, like, it's not about you. It's not that nobody believes that you're going to do the thing. So, yeah, I think you have to found your way out. Is that
Yeah.
an SUP
Yeah.
logo on your shirt? Nice, nice.
Yeah.
They
I
haven't
feel like
figured a way
that's
to keep you in there yet.
oh no, I'm definitely Keter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting that you say it like that because it's kind of the same thing, right? Like do you escape containment or do you stay in a cage if you're locked in?
You
Right.
know, I
That's the question
mean,
of jobs too.
yeah, it's the same. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
I'm like,
interesting.
it would be nice in there. I'd wake up and do the same thing every day. And like, I'd be a little bit afraid to lose my job. But other than that, I'd be like putting money away for retirement.
They only experiment on us sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They've only put me in a stasis field once, and I feel like that wasn't for very long. So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I actually have to go a little early too because there's an
yeah,
event happening right now.
yeah. I'm gonna be at the Loom in Oakland for like a benefit for like 5 different art pieces that are gonna go.
Oh, is that cool? I saw they're doing decomp there.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's really cool. I love it.
It's like
My
the new NIMBY
Yeah, it's like a new uh it's like the new yeah, I
or
guess
like the American Steel or whatever.
yeah, yeah, I would say. Or what's that one that's like over in the dog patch? It's like that thing. It's like a bunch of warehouses with a bunch of Burning Man things. They're gonna have the Sphinx Gate or the Oracle Gate from the Never Ending Story.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's being built, and then we're working on the library, and the library's like up and put together and lit up, and half the
oh,
books are
cool.
done, so it'll be cool.
Send me the
So I'll be
deets.
there later, in case. Yeah, yeah, I'll probably do a video about it, so that the
Oh, like today?
yeah, yeah, it'll be later today. I think
I'm in
like
the
7.
I'm in
Yeah.
the mountains today.
All right. I see the mountains behind you, so
Yeah.
enjoy
These
your
are
mountains.
these are imaginary, but yeah.
Real
All
mountains.
right.
All right. I'll see
See you
ya.
later.
Bye.